All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for attending our webinar here. This is a presentation brought to you by the Future Leaders BRG. We are the corporate group, and this is also put in part by Articulate Delivery Club, our very own UPS Toastmasters group. And so this is just going to be an information session about Toastmasters. We're going to talk a little bit about the organization. We'll talk specifically about Articulate Delivery Club and what it looks like to potentially join and go through the Toastmasters program. So without further ado, we will go ahead and get started here. Now, general overview. Some of you may have heard of Toastmasters before and some may have not. Just in full transparency, I actually joined Toastmasters just at the beginning of this year, January 2025. And when I heard Toastmasters, I was kind of familiar, and I knew it had to do something with public speaking, but it is kind of a weird name, and so I had thought, well, are these people who professionally prepare toast or whatnot? So, but Toastmasters is a worldwide nonprofit educational organization that empowers people to become more effective communicators and leaders. And so it's actually, I didn't realize this, a network of more than 270,000 people in over 14,000 clubs in 148 countries. And our Toastmasters International, it's an effective provider of dynamic, high-value, experiential communication and leadership skills. So within the Toastmasters program, it's designed for every individual to have unlimited personal growth. And you can go ahead and use the tools that you receive in Toastmasters to broaden your horizons and enhance your skills, such as critical thinking, enhanced listening, and impromptu speaking. Our club environment also helps you how to learn to take and implement feedback, which can really lead to tremendous professional and personal growth. And along the way, you'll receive support from fellow members and will be encouraged to develop positive mentoring relationships within the club. Now, my personal reason for joining Toastmasters is that I wanted to enhance my presentation skills. I work in the talent acquisition space, and I do a lot of training for our corporate talent acquisition team. And so the thing that I wanted to come into is sharpening my presentation skills. But I actually didn't realize the content that would help me to develop leadership skills and communication skills. And we'll get to that here in a little bit, but I have found so many additional benefits from joining Toastmasters outside of just public speaking. Now, let's talk a little bit about Articulate Delivery Club. And our club is 4,314. We are Articulate Delivery, and we were actually founded at the UPS corporate headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia on August 1st, 1999. So our club has been going strong for 26 years, and we still are an active and open club. And as a corporate club with an open status, we are allowed to have both company employees and non-UPSers as members. So our club, it meets twice a month. The first Wednesday of the month, which is virtually only, so anybody from across the US or internationally can join. And then the third Wednesday of the month, we have a hybrid approach where we do have the virtual session, and then we also have in-person opportunities at the 55 Glen Wake building. Usually it's held in the Casey training room for those of you who are in that area. And we are getting a little background info. It looks we're good there. So our club, it is self-paced. It's a hands-on learning environment that provides you with opportunities to give both prepared and impromptu speeches. And as I mentioned, feedback. So after you give your speech, you will receive honest, encouraging, and then structured evaluations to implement the feedback in a later speech. And it does give a good opportunity for leadership roles. Every meeting, we have our players, as we like to call them, including the Toastmaster, who facilitates the meeting, ensures that we follow our scheduled agenda, will call upon different team members at different times to do their components. We also have an evaluator. Now, that person is the evaluator of the speeches and can evaluate the meeting as a whole, looking for things like, did the meeting start on time? Were the sections in the correct order? General feedback really to the Toastmaster. We also have the awe counter. When I first heard of this role, I didn't really kind of know what it meant, but what that individual will do is throughout the meeting, we might have an individual who will give a 5-minute speech. We have a table topics section in which people practice their impromptu speaking in short, succinct answers. The awe counter is responsible for going through and ensuring, and they will make a mark anytime a filler word is used. So if you want to refine your speaking skills and get rid of those uhs and ums and ahs, that's kind of what the awe counter will do. And at the end, they will give a report as to how many uses of each crutch word were used. So the other cool thing about our Articulate Delivery Club that we're actually just rolling out in full force is access to a mentor. So being that the club has been around for 26 years, we have some seasoned veterans who are part of the club. Our guest speaker today is one of them, Isaac Logan. And we have mentors who can guide you through the pathway. We want to empower you to take charge of the pathway and to also develop yourself as a communicator and leader. And as I did mention, we have the meetings virtually and then hybrid the third Wednesday of the month in person there at Glen Lake for those of you who want to get that in-person experience. Next, we're going to talk about the Pathways Learning Experience. So if you do decide to join Toastmasters, you will be enrolled in what we call a pathway. And this is our education program. And it focuses on 5 core competencies and then 6 specialized learning paths. If you do decide to join Toastmasters, you receive 1 free path to start, and you can also work on multiple paths at the same time. For me, I joined and I wanted to become a visionary communicator. So that was my free path. And we'll take a look here in a little bit at what all of those paths look like and the different competency levels that follow with each path. If you wanted to maybe get an idea, you can actually take an assessment that will recommend 3 different paths for you. And you're free to choose any path that you want. You can access your projects and then resources online through the Basecamp feature on Toastmasters website, which is where Pathways is housed. And on the Toastmaster website, there are so many great resources. You can download speech outlines, and you can print different presentations to guide your learning. Best of all, though, you work at your own pace, and along the way, you will be able to build skills that help you in your personal and professional lives. In Toastmasters, the combination of the Pathways learning experience with the support that we offer in Articulate Delivery Club is really what makes Toastmasters in general such a powerful tool. So let's go ahead and take a glimpse into those pathways. As I mentioned, there are the 5 general competencies. We have public speaking and management, uh, strategic leadership, interpersonal communication and strategic leadership, and then interpersonal communication and management. It can be a lot, right? Where do you want to start? But everything is centered around the club meetings. You can see that in the middle. So, as a member, you would have the ability to go home and then spend your time in pathways. You can select one of those different paths, and then from there, you would progress through the different levels. So, you're going to start out in the mastering fundamentals level. So for public speaking and management, that could look like, what does it look like to give a speech? Maybe that's something that you're afraid of. We're going to provide you with a framework to have the fundamentals of the public speaking and management. With our future leaders, BRG, it's in our name, future leaders. But maybe you haven't been in a supervisory type role. This will also introduce management best practices. And then from there, you're going to learn your style. So not only is this a skill-based program, it also is going to have individual insights where you're going to be able to find maybe your management style. And maybe you would be able to determine what kind of public speaker you are as well. From there, you're going to increase your knowledge and then build skills in the related pathway. And then finally, you put it all together and you're going to demonstrate expertise. Level 5 is usually accomplished with a 15 to 20 minute speech, whereas level 1, you're going to be giving 4 to 5 5-minute speeches. So we progress you up through there. And really, it allows you to build skills at your own pace. So for me, I really took to the Pathways learning environment. And as I mentioned, I joined the Visionary Communication Pathway. And I have been giving a speech at every meeting since the start of the year. And so I actually just recently completed my level 5. And it's been really cool to not only learn skills about how to communicate my vision, but learn a little bit more about my leadership style as well. Now, Pathways itself, it has over 300 different competencies. Some you can see listed here on the slide, such as public speaking, interpersonal communication, strategic leadership, confidence, that you would be able to learn across all of these different paths. So each path includes the opportunity to build confidence, which is one of Toastmasters' core competencies. We want you to be able to give presentations and feel comfortable speaking up, whether it's in a meeting or presenting to stakeholders. This is really unique because it can be taught, but as a skill, all members have the opportunity to increase their confidence through the pathways. If you wanted to maybe, let's say, work on your public speaking, interpersonal communication, and strategic leadership, then you might want to do the dynamic leadership pathway. Or if you wanted to learn more about persuasive influence, the core competencies that you would learn there are public speaking, strategic leadership, and interpersonal communication. So in all, these are just a brief overview of some of the paths and the 300 competencies that you can learn. Now, earlier I mentioned that this is not only a good avenue to learn skills in public speaking and increase your confidence, but also to open up and be receptive to feedback. So every speech that is given has a formal feedback mechanism through the evaluation form. And the evaluation form looks like this. So what we do is we input our speech name when we're giving it, and it has, you can see there, the length of that speech. And then there's kind of a Likert scale that we utilize to evaluate skills such as vocal variety, eye contact, hand gestures, and general comfort level with the material and speaking. Each skill has that clearly outlined criteria that corresponds to the number ranging from 1 to 5. And just as a note, a score of 3 means that you met the criteria, did what you were supposed to do, and did it well. But I actually like the general comments section, which is room for the evaluator to write any comments that they have. So these evaluations are a great tool to learn what areas you need to improve on and then what you excel at, which allows you then to actually track your progress and grow across the pathway. Just wanted to hone in there at the first one, which is clarity. So the spoken language is clear and easily understood. For a 5, that would be an exemplary public speaker who is always understood. For a rating of 4, you're going to be able to excel at communicating using the spoken word. 3, again, is that average. It's what's expected of you, where your spoken language is clear and easily understood. And then there's always room for improvement. 2 would be spoken language might be unclear or challenging to understand, and then 1 is it's developing, right? We're always going to be in progress. And so that could be an area for development where the spoken language is unclear or not easily understood. But this is all a way to say that learning just doesn't stop at the club level. With access to Toastmasters, you would be able to receive the Toastmasters magazine subscription, which has, of course, guidance on public speaking, but also has leadership tips and features articles on fellow Toastmasters. And then this is actually something that we kind of just revived in Articulate Delivery Club, but Toastmasters also has contests. And so just a couple last week, we actually had our first contest in over 10 years, and it was a table topics contest where individuals were given a question that was the same, and they had to respond to that question. And what that allowed the person to do, it was a judge, a panel of judges. Each of the speakers were evaluated using the evaluation form, and then our winner is actually going on to the area level contest. And if our club member continues to win, then they would actually go to the international convention, which has speech contests that culminate in the World Championship of Public Speaking. Our contests are also held at that Toastmasters International Convention, which also has the education sessions and then a chance to vote on important business matters at the annual business meeting. And then we are part of District 44. You can kind of see up there in the top left of the image, and they are doing such a phenomenal job with all of the clubs in the Atlanta area. And so they actually have an in-person conference annually in Atlanta, which allows you to meet other Toastmasters and connect with them. Once you become a Toastmaster member, you can also visit other clubs in the area. And you can go in as a guest. We actually had a couple of non-club members who came and served as judges for our table topics contest. So it's always great. And maybe you're looking for something where you wanted to do an in-person first Saturday. Those options are available to you. And then everything, of course, is available to you at the Toastmasters website. So, this has been a presentation. Why join Toastmasters? So there is a fee associated with that, just with the level of programming that you are provided. But clubs are really inexpensive to join, and unlike other programs, the learning never really stops. Toastmasters is truly the most cost-effective way to learn, and no other company out there really offers what we have in the same model. So for that, there is a $25 new member fee per person, and then the membership cost would be $60 for 6 months membership. But wait, these costs are waived for us as UPSers, okay? So as Articulate Delivery Club members representing UPS, these costs are waived, and that is covered through our budget that we have. The only thing that if you would like to join our club, we have an annual fee of $20. So $20 once a year, and that pays for things like ribbons. We have an open house coming up, which I'm going to talk about, food for meetings, general things like that in terms of recognition. So really, Toastmasters allows you to break down barriers without breaking your budget. Other companies may offer seminars like this with limited learning, and it could cost nearly $2,000. So all way of saying that $20 investment is not only an upskilling opportunity, but an investment in you to become a better person. So I'll kind of leave you here with just our top 10 reasons to join Toastmasters. Number 1, overcome the fear of public speaking, okay? Public speaking ranks among the top fears globally, but Toastmasters provides a safe space to practice and gradually build that confidence. Through practice, regular speaking opportunities help members become more self-assured in both personal and professional settings. The friendly environment that we have, making friends and shared experiences. As I mentioned, I am remote in Denver, Colorado, but just being able to connect with some of the people who work in office there in Atlanta, not only on my team, but on other teams, has just really allowed me to have a supportive community where we're not only just evaluating speeches, but we're able to connect and share stories, and through our mentorship model, just get advice as well. Improving communication is a big thing here, and learning to speak with clarity, smooth flow, and purpose, skills that can be translated into any career. Engaging your audience as well. One thing that I've actually improved is, avoiding death by PowerPoint by learning how to present in a dynamic and engaging way that captures the audience attention. We talked about the mentorship and leadership skills, how we offer roles and different projects that help members grow as leaders. And then teamwork, collaboration. This is something that we learn to appreciate one another, building those collaboration skills through giving honest feedback to one another. One of our pathways actually talks about persuasion and influence, and how to be able to present ideas that you have in a healthy way, which is crucial for team projects and leadership, making sure that your voice is heard. And part of that is understanding your audience, environment, and yourself. Effective speaking really comes down to empathy, awareness, and then self-reflection, which are skills that are honed through evaluation, feedback, and then through the pathways themselves. And then lastly, you have the ability to inspire others. Even if you're not a famous speaker and moving on to the World Championship of Public Speaking, you have the ability to move and motivate others through your words. So with that, it's my pleasure to go ahead and introduce Isaac Logan, Ike as he likes to be called. And just a quick overview, he's a retired UPSer. He has been a Articulate Delivery Club member for 21 years. He's our current Vice President of Education, and he holds a Distinguished Toastmaster designation. He's been a past club president. He also has a master's in project management, and he currently works as an accountant in Kennesaw. So, Ike, I'm going to turn the floor over to you to talk a little bit about your UPS journey, Toastmasters, and what it's like in the club. The floor is all yours.
Thank you, Mitch. I want to thank each and every one of you for attending this webcast. And I feel honored to be able to take this time to share my experience with you. What I like to do first is to talk to you about my Toastmasters journey. And then secondly, I want to talk about what's called our club mission. I wanted to tell you about the club mission and break it down to you what it really means. I first, like I said, I'm a former UPSer for 23 years. I first joined Toastmasters in 2004. And this was pre-Pathways. When I first joined, I was invited by, at the time was the club president, and she invited me to a meeting. So I went to the meeting. It was interesting. I liked it. After the meeting, I kind of did not go back to it, but what happened was we have our development meetings between me and my division manager, and at the time, each department had a HR person. So I was an industrial engineer at the time, and our HR person, is him, my division manager, myself, talked about my career objectives. And while we was talking, he said, "Hey, Isaac, have you ever heard about Toastmasters?" I said, "Yeah, I went to a meeting not too long ago." He said, "I really encourage you to join Toastmasters." I said, "Okay." So even back then, Toastmasters had a lot of buy-in from UPS managers at that time. Mm-hmm. So I went back and I went to another Toastmasters meeting. I eventually joined. With Toastmasters, the first thing you do is what's called an icebreaker speech. It's a 4-minute speech. For me, my icebreaker speech was, I talked about how growing up, I was communicationally challenged. I talked about how my father was a stutterer and my mother talked real fast. So growing up through my years, I used to stutter really fast. It was a sight to see. I was able to overcome that, and so communication was always a challenge for me growing up. Joining Toastmasters, what it helped me to develop my communication skills. Back then we had books, and the first book was called a Competent Communication, where you learn about the icebreaker. Then you had what's called, the next project was body movements, hand gestures. Another was voice variety. So you learn different aspects of communication as you've gone through each project. So I became what's called a competent communication at the time, competent communicator. And as I developed, I learned that there was another aspect of Toastmasters. After I started developing my communication skills, there's also another aspect that was called a leadership skills. So you do another path we call leadership. You develop your leadership skills, and at that point, I became one of the leaders in our club. I was first sergeant at arms, and then I became a president of our club. The time I was president, we became president distinguished. And as you go, each of these things that you work on, it leads you towards the ultimate goal of becoming a distinguished Toastmaster. So after the next step was after finish my communication book and my leadership books, I became what's called an area director. So let me back up a little bit. As being a president with Toastmasters, it parallels to what you're doing on your professional and personal level. So as president, I was over the club and learned and I was in responsible for directing the club to meeting their goals, helping out, being encouraging, being assisting, delegating. Those were my goals for the club. Then I became what's called an area director. As an area director, you're over several clubs. So I had the opportunity to see how other clubs operated that operated for that particular club. And I was responsible for guiding each club towards their goals. So the next step as going towards my goals towards Distinguished Toastmaster, one of the things I did was what's called a youth leadership. This was a very it was very I really enjoyed this. I went to one of the middle schools in our area. It was up in Norcross, and I would go there and we would show them Toastmasters. I had an ROTC class, and I would go into the ROTC class and we would basically conduct a Toastmasters meeting at the class. And in this meeting, you had all these kids, eighth graders, who were, they were shy, could barely speak. And each week we showed them the Toastmasters way. And let me tell you, after the 9 week session, the phrase how the cream rises to the top, you can really see it. Behold, by the time you get to the week 9, you see these kids become accomplished. It was a sight to behold how they start from not even wanting to speak and talking real low to becoming profound speakers. It was very enlightening for me, and I really enjoyed it. So after I eventually became a distinguished Toastmaster. Now, once you get there, I had realized something, that at that point, I'm in a position to turn around and give back. So through mentorship, through being an advisor, through my clubs, through helping anybody in my club who needs assistance in what they're trying to do. Since I've been through the path, so I can turn back around and help people who's going through where I've already been, help guide them to get where they're trying to go in Toastmasters. So that was basically my journey in a nutshell about what I did and what it took me to get to Toastmasters. The other thing I want to talk to you about is our club mission. And I want to just recite it, is we provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. These are not more just merely words. This is our cornerstone for our clubs. We support supportive and positive learning experience. When you come to a Toastmasters meeting or you engage with Toastmasters members, the main focus is support and positivity. We want to do what we can to provide you and encourage you to achieve your goals through Toastmasters. And our focus is we want to empower you to develop communication and leadership skills. Not only want to help you, aid you to develop your communication skills, so you can stand up and learn all the skills it takes to develop a speech. We also want you to learn your leadership skills also, so you can learn how to become leaders in your job, become managers, supervisors, whatever you want to be there. Also, it also involves greater self-confidence and personal growth. I want to share one little story. When I was getting my master's, we would have a lot of my masters involved in presentations, and we had classes where we had gotten to different groups, and we talk about a case study, and then our group would talk about it. And almost every time, someone had to go up and say, okay, now this group, who's going to represent this group to go and talk in front of the class? Almost to every time they would say, hey, Isaac, you want to go speak? I said, sure. Because I had that confidence that it was no problem for me. I can go up there and talk in front of a group and talk effectively and give an effective speech. So that's my journey with Toastmasters that I wanted to share with you. It's been so rewarding for me, not only for my own personal development, I also am rewarded when I am able to reach back and help others and watch them develop and watch them and see how they develop themselves into accomplished speakers, into accomplished leaders. I know a lot of cases where people who was with Toastmasters, I watched them in their professional areas become supervisors, managers, leaders with UPS. So Toastmasters it's a parallel. What you learn, especially with Pathways now, what you learn in Toastmasters directly can transfer into what you're doing in your professional life through Toastmasters. So this is my testimony with Toastmasters. Just wanted to take time to share it with you.
Awesome. Ike, thank you so much. Everybody, let's give Ike a big round of applause there for sharing that. Thank you so much, Ike. Before we do move on to the next slide, I did want to see, Brandon, I see you have your hand up. Did you have a question?
Okay. Sorry, that was a mistake.
No worries at all. Yeah, we will open it up to question and answer here in just a little bit. But before we get to that, wanted to talk about how to join, or or you can just join as a guest as well. So at UPS, we do have the virtual meeting coming up here in just 2 weeks on Wednesday, November 5th at 12 o'clock Eastern time. And it is a 1 hour meeting. And so that is definitely something that if you wanted to just come check out to see what the club is, no obligations there. We also are going to have an open house on Wednesday the 19th. This is an in-person open house at our Atlanta 55 Glen Lake building, and that will be at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time. We have more details. We're preparing a guest speaker, and we need to lock in the room, but more details to come on that. If you would like to take the next step and join, or if you have any questions, you can go ahead and get in touch with Consuela Sibley, Sway, as she's known. She's our club president and has just been rocking it for the past 1.5 years. Or you can reach out to me. I am the vice president of membership and would be happy to have any communication with you. And then to formally join, right, you would go ahead and complete the application for membership. Now, what I am going to do in the chat, I just posted if you're interested in joining, or if you want to formally contact us through the Toastmasters website, or if you actually want to schedule a club visit, you can put your information in there and I will be notified, and then I can connect the bridge through email from there. But let's go ahead and just, as we end our call here today, let's take a quick look at our Toastmaster testimonial video. And I forgot to include sound, so let's go ahead. And if I could just get a thumbs up reaction if you're able to hear.
Toastmasters is a platform where you can that teaches you how to cultivate courage by not only embracing your strengths, but also your vulnerabilities. So that when you get out and when you start speaking in the real world and trying to impact lives, you're actually able to exude all of the qualities of a true leader.
There's little clubs that are going on all over the world in every city, every time of the day, helping people nurture their self-confidence, grow, develop their communication and leadership.
Every meeting you learn something new, and it's entertaining, it's fun, it's a learning opportunity.
It's a place to practice speaking. It's kind of like a gym for public speaking, if you will.
Each and every member in the organization I meet is positive. They are always there to encourage you, they're always there to guide you, to support you.
This is probably the best thing that you can do for your career. Communication, no matter what job you have, communication is key.
What has surprised me the most about joining Toastmasters was how it revealed things that I never thought I could do. I never thought I could write. I never thought I could speak in public. I never thought I could control my voice.
I realized that even though I joined Toastmasters to become a better communicator, that I've become an accidental leader.
Knowing that you have that power and ability to make other people better is really humbling, and it's very empowering at the same time.
Don't say no. Try it. Go to a meeting and spend the time to really appreciate what the meeting has to offer you, what Toastmasters has to offer.
I am able to see improvement in everything that I do. The more I do the roles, the more I do the speeches, I realize that I am better at what I'm doing. So that's why I keep coming back.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for attending. I know we are rolling up on time, but I do want to turn the floor over and see if anybody has any questions, any comments. Yeah, LaShonda, I see you got your hand up there.
Yes, so just two quick questions. One, are the meetings the same time every month or every week? And then how do we get the link to the upcoming meeting?
Yep. So the meetings are the same. So the first meeting is virtual at 12 o'clock Eastern. And then the second meeting that is a hybrid is also at 12 o'clock Eastern. We just have a different time for our open house, but they are at 12 Eastern, which happens to correspond to lunch for most of our East Coast employees. And then if you do want that meeting invite, feel free to just use that schedule club visit link that I dropped, or you can send me a Teams message directly, and I will ensure you get that invite for the November 5th club meeting, okay? And it's on Teams. Yeah, it's on Teams. So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Any questions for Ike about his Toastmasters experience? No? Okay, well, I do have, if you are so brave and want to stick around, I do actually have a fun activity plan. So I mentioned that one of the things that we do is impromptu speaking. And that is through our table topics. So if you wanted to see kind of what Toastmasters is like, this would be one of our table topics questions. So I would ask the question at UPS, we're known for delivering packages, but what's one personal skill you've delivered to a team that made a difference? Does anybody want to be so brave and come off mute and take that one? And we're looking, it'd be a 45 to 60-second response. Maybe not. Ike, I'll turn it to you. You show us how it's done?
Hey, you gonna time me?
Yep, we got you.
So to reiterate, at UPS, we're known for delivering packages. But what's one personal skill you delivered to a team that made a difference? The one personal skill that I believe I mentioned in in my discussion with you is confidence. That's one integral thing you must have when, as far as whatever you're trying to do in life, you got to be confident that you can get it done. If you try to go through whatever you're trying to do and you lack confidence, that is a detriment for yourself. Anything for Toastmasters delivering a presentation, doing your job, whatever you're trying to do, you got to develop the confidence. And the confidence always comes with knowing your work, knowing your speech, knowing your presentation. The more you know it, the more you understand what it is you're trying to do, then the higher your confidence level rises. So if I can tell one thing to a team that would make a difference for each person in that team, is to know your work, know your position, know your presentation, and work on increasing your confidence. Once that confidence increases, there's no limit to what you can accomplish. Thank you.
Love it. I can, within time, but I got 1 minute and 32 seconds there for you, friend. So great response. Thank you so much for demonstrating that. I do have a couple other questions. So again, Future Leaders BRG is all about growth. If you could give a 2-minute TED Talk to new UPSers, what would your topic be? Anyone want to maybe address that? Get a little practice here? No? I can go ahead and take this one. Oh, Katie,
Mitch,
did you?
I'll take a
All
stab
right.
at it.
Katie, let's go. The floor is yours.
Thanks. So so the prompt Future Leaders BRG is all about growth. If you could give a 2-minute TED Talk to new UPSers, what would your topic be? I would start out by, I guess, setting the stage of how UPS is not just a package delivery company. It's a company with many different heads. And there's of course logistics, there's operations, but we also have a healthcare division where we specifically service deliveries around healthcare, like COVID vaccinations and things like that, that deal with kind of temperature sensitive or just sensitive handling materials. There's also a division for marketing, so that deals with kind of strategy, how we set up initiatives to target market growth. There is a section for insurance, because I guess UPS Capital is a thing, and that is a service that we offer. I'd also mention that there's IT, which is a department that I'm a part of, where we have software, we have the UPS website, we have online services for the companies that partner with UPS, such as Facebook, Shopify, Octane, Shippo, as well as just the services on ups.com. We have HR that focuses on servicing UPS, internal UPSers. So all to say that there is a lot going on at UPS, and so it's a huge org that will certainly offer a lot of different learning opportunities and different careers. And it's also one that encourages for you to explore that. I know several of my coworkers and teammates today came from ops, or they've jumped between IT and marketing. So it's just in my opinion, I think it's a great work environment, relatively speaking. Of course, there are things that can be challenging, but it is there. I think there's a reason why it scores so highly with like employee satisfaction.
That's awesome, Katie. Thank you. We got you about 2.5 minutes, so you went
Oh, cool.
above and beyond. See, so thank you so
Yay.
much for stepping up and stepping out, as my mentor Ike says.
Oh,
And
thank
yeah,
you.
so yeah, we really appreciate that, everybody. Let's give Katie a round of applause there for being so brave and answering our question. So, just again to conclude our time today here, please, if you would like to join us as a guest, we would be honored to have you remotely 2 weeks here on Wednesday the 5th. Go ahead and sign up or reach out to me directly via Teams. And then we will have that open house. More details to come for those of you in the Atlanta area. But thank you so much, everybody, for joining here today. This presentation will be shared with you after the call, and I would encourage you to share it with a teammate and join Toastmasters together. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your week and have a refreshing weekend ahead. Take care.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thank you, Mitch.